Greetings and welcome to the second stop along our music theory track, second semester. Dominant seventh chords, part 2. Natural resolution, voice leading, incomplete chords, and hidden fifths. It's a lot of vital theoretical material which we'll be putting to work in a follow-up video, so pay attention. Do you remember our discussions on hidden octaves and hidden fifths? Why we try to avoid writing hidden fifths and octaves? Is there ever a situation where hidden fifths could be permitted? Open your eyes and watch for the answers in this video. In the previous presentation, we mentioned that dominant seventh chords do not require preparation, and we haven't actually dealt with preparation, though we will soon. Anyway, all seventh chords contain a dissonant interval, and that dissonance must be resolved. The natural resolution of the 5/7 depends on the tonic triad. The bass leaps from the fifth scale degree, the dominant, to the first degree, the tonic. Note that the bass may leap in either direction, by ascending perfect fourth or by descending perfect fifth. As for the seventh of the 5/7, the voice must descend by a diatonic step to the third of the tonic triad, either a semitone to the major third or a whole tone to the minor third. Listen. Concerning the third of the 5/7, that is the leading tone, whether major or minor mode. The leading tone moves naturally by semitone to the octave of the tonic pitch, or root. Here are some textbook examples showing the fifth of the 5/7 moving naturally by diatonic scale step, either up or down. For your information, this is a screenshot of a 19th century theory manual. See note in the description. But do you notice anything unusual about the chord voicings in this example? Look closely. Yes, the tonic triads, the 1 and minor 1 chords, are incomplete. They have no fifth. That is not wrong, as we already learned that the fifth may be left out of a triad as long as it is a consonant triad. To hear how it sounds, you should pause the clip and play through a few of these on your piano keyboard. Doubling. We know that, depending on voice leading requirements, any tone of a triad may be doubled, root, third, or fifth. As for the seventh chords, the root can be doubled, and you can leave out the fifth of a seventh chord, as shown here. Listen. Observe that the doubling of the 5/7 chord root is retained in an upper voice into the tonic triad, becoming the fifth of the latter. The doubled root of the seventh chord seems to prepare the fifth of the tonic triad, except that the fifth is not a dissonant interval and requires no such preparation. Exceptions to the doubling rule in four-part writing might involve series of multiple seventh chords, in which case the third, or perhaps even the seventh, might be doubled. The requirements of proper voice leading, rules of counterpoint, are a big factor in determining such doublings and whether or not to leave out the fifth of the dominant seventh chord. For example, voice leading is paramount when connecting the 5/7 with the subdominant triad, the 4 or minor 4 chord. Why is the example on the left better than the one on the right? Both examples use contrary motion to avoid parallel fifths and octaves, but the first sacrifices the fifth for the sake of smooth voice leading. The second preserves the fifth at the cost of stepwise motion in multiple voices. Not wrong, but not smooth either. Listen to the difference. To re-emphasize a point, the fifth of the dominant seventh is not essential. Listen. Forcing all the chords to be perfect or complete does not sound as smooth, due to the prevalence of disjunct motion, as when we leave out the fifth of one of each pair. Smooth voice leading just died. Appropriate voice leading is so important, in fact, that there are times when even the third of a dominant seventh chord can be eliminated. Bear in mind that this voicing seldom occurs, and there must be a justifiable reason for such unusual treatment. Now, there is another way to make both chords complete. Listen carefully. There are two conditions. First, be sure that the third of the 5/7 chord is not in the soprano. And 2, the bass must leap upwards by a fourth, 5-1 or minor 1. Only then is the third of the 5/7 allowed to skip downward to the fifth of the 1 chord or minor 1 chord. Look at it and listen. This only works when the third of the 5/7 is in an inner voice, alto or tenor, not in the soprano, and only when the bass leaps in contrary motion to the upper voices. Here is some bad voice leading illustrated in the same 1890s textbook, still valid today. Avoid doing this. When the third of the 5/7 chord is in the soprano, it doesn't work. Why not? Because when the leading tone is in the soprano, it must resolve to the octave of the tonic pitch. What it all means is, when the leading tone is in an inner voice, alto or tenor, its upward pull is less prominent because our ears tend to focus on the outer voices, soprano and bass. Regarding those hidden fifths, do you recall our previous discussion? A hidden fifth results when two voices move into a perfect fifth or 12th from the same direction. The small notes illustrate how our ears fill in the skips and leaps, and we seem to hear a parallel fifth, which is forbidden. Now, some hidden fifths may sound perfectly okay. Say, when a higher voice moves by a scale degree into a fifth interval with a lower voice, which itself moves by skip or leap into the fifth. Listen. But not always. Observe that now there are two hidden fifths, between bass and soprano and tenor and soprano, and a hidden octave between bass and tenor. Sloppy voice leading indeed. Guidelines. When both voices move by leap or skip into a perfect fifth, avoid, definitely. When the upper voice moves by skip or leap and the lower moves by scale degree into a perfect fifth, avoid, usually. Hidden fifths are permitted only when the upper voice moves by scale degree into the perfect fifth, and the lower by skip or leap. There is no assignment until next time. Here is a summary. Incomplete chords are a result of natural resolution of dominant seventh chords. It is not always good to force all chords to be complete. The fifth can often be omitted. Learning to write smooth voice leading is a priority. Thank you for watching. If you like what you are learning, please share a link to the video. Post a question if you need clarification on the above points. Subscribe for updates by also tapping the bell button next to the subscribe button on the YouTube video watch page.